Hello and welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy podcast. My name is Jed. We are reading one of the most important books ever written. One of the most important books for anybody to read. So, hooray for us. And with a surprising twist, as we are reading this book, we are learning how to read anything. And we are learning the difference between reading and personal interpretation. And we have been discovering that personal interpretation is the functioning of belief, while reading is the activity of understanding. What we're also learning is those are the fundamentally two ways that human beings process things, through belief or through understanding. And this functioning through belief and interpretation seems to be the root cause of all human problems, while understanding is what is required to solve those problems and reach our excellence. So it's a win-win for understanding. So that's interesting, isn't it? It is that way because belief, as it turns out, functions in opposition to understanding. So while understanding can look back at belief and understand it, belief can't understand understanding. What it can do is violently oppose it. So if understanding uses evidence, reason, belief functions in opposition to evidence and reason. That's why all of these religious beliefs or sexist beliefs are batshit crazy. The world was 6,000 years old. We know that isn't true with evidence and reason. That's why it's belief. You have to believe it anyway. So, and if understanding is what we use as human beings and develop as a skill and use to reach truth, achieve what is our goodness or benefit, and unify our understanding and unify with other people who are also able to participate in understanding, we can recognize that belief is not only opposed to reason and evidence, but opposed to truth, goodness, and unity. So belief functions as a way that is false, harmful, and creates division. So isn't it interesting that we can bring everything together in two terms, belief and understanding, and also not just believe that belief is the source of all human problems and understanding the functioning that solves them, we understand it. So therefore, it's not just a belief, it is something that's true. And we can use that truth to ourselves' benefit and unify ourselves, our relationships, and our species. Because as we just pointed out, understanding is what brings truth, goodness, and unity. So where we are now is in part 3. So given all of that, where does understanding take us? And in part 3, we are beginning to explore where understanding takes us. So we have been discovering the nature of belief by addressing this particular belief that everything is relative. If it seems true to you, then it is true. If you believe it, then it's real. If you perceive it some way, it's your experience. So therefore, that's your truth. It's common sense. The way that you make sense of your perceptions. Common sense. So what we have discovered is this particular belief actually applies to all beliefs, in that whatever you believe, if you insist that that belief is legitimate, you are saying, whatever I am saying is true because it's relative to my interpretation. So belief functions through interpretation. You project what isn't there that you believe should be there, and you're blocked from seeing what is there because of the beliefs that you're carrying. That's interpretation. We are learning to read, which is the opposite, to see what's there. And interpretation is nothing other than everything is relative to the interpreter. If you think there is any legitimacy to your own personal interpretations, you are saying that truth is relative to interpretation. So not only is that a claim about truth, that's a claim about knowledge, because you are claiming that your own common sense interpretation of your physical perceptions is something you know about the truth, or about reality, or about what you're experiencing. So it's a claim about truth and a claim about how we know truth. It's a knowledge claim. So that was the big twist at the end of part 2. It's all relative is actually the functioning of all belief. It's interpretation. And now we are pointing out, hang on a second, that's also a claim about knowledge. So anyone who says that they know what the self is, or know what reality is, or know what understanding is, because of their own personal opinions or life experiences or personal perception, they are making a claim about knowledge. And so if they're making a claim about knowledge, there has to be a field of knowledge. There has to be a subject which has these objects of knowledge as its as its object, as its subject. What's that field? For instance, if you're making a claim about how an engine works, you are claiming to speak from the knowledge of a mechanic. If you're making a claim about some surgery, you're making a claim from the knowledge of a surgeon. If you're saying, well, I know how to fly a plane and how to land a plane, you are claiming to have the knowledge of aviation. So there's a field or a subject for each of these things of knowledge. The difficulty with what we are doing here, with sharing what we're doing here, is we are learning to understand the nature of self, reality, understanding, belief, the source of all human problems, the source of excellence, and how we solve problems, which should apply to every single human being. Not just human being, any intelligent being, any being that has access to self-reflection, that can reflect on how they are perceiving and making sense, reflect on their own perception and knowledge, and can do so with language. Because language is how we get to participate in reason and the intelligibility of the universe. So the difficulty with philosophy is, even though it should be, what's the word for this? Required. It should be a core element in every class, in every school, not an elective, because we're all human beings with problems, suffering from problems, and projecting those problems onto others in an unjust way, causing our injustice individually within ourselves, in our relationships, and within our society. We all have that, so shouldn't we all be seeking to understand why that's happening, its root cause, and how to solve that? Yes, the answer is yes. And we all seek our excellence. We all seek to know ourselves, to know what we're supposed to be doing here, know how to reach our happiness, know how to reach harmony. Then shouldn't we be learning that? All of us? So why aren't we? We aren't because this it's all relative claim about personal interpretation is a claim about knowledge that people use about a field they lack the expertise in. They are claiming to fly a plane without any knowledge of aviation. People think they know what the self is, they think they know what reality is, they think they know what meaning is, they think they know what problems are, they think they know how to solve the problems, without the specific knowledge of that particular field. It doesn't help that our institutions are also based on it's all relative, personal beliefs and interpretation of the most ignorant people in our society and the most ignorant people in human history. Punitive justice system. A violent and exploitative capitalist economic system. Allowing the existence of conservative politics, which is actively ignorant and harmful. belief-based. Religion, belief-based, in opposition to what we're here to do. Our education system teaches philosophy as the opposite of philosophy. Philodoxia is the Greek name. Philosophia means love of wisdom. Philodoxia, love of opinions. Which is why whenever we get somebody who thinks they're a philosopher coming into this channel, they engage in debate. They act like a dick. Not in a good way. They are rude and abusive and don't want to listen and don't want to answer questions and can't answer questions and can't conclude and go on tangents. And they try and imitate the kind of ignorance from their own teachers or media figures to sidestep questions in order to defend the false beliefs that they are carrying. Defend any belief that they're carrying. Who cares about belief? The only way we should be interested in belief is to understand its nature, its power, and how to remove it if it's the cause of all problems. So that's the difficulty. People claiming knowledge without that knowledge. People claiming to speak from a knowledge about which they lack the expertise. So that's where we are. In the last couple of 2 episodes ago, we had some examples of that. We had a couple of new academic philosophers who demonstrated all of those qualities very exceptionally. And after that, we had a dialogue with someone who is more familiar with this channel, who has done some work on self-reflection and done some work on understanding the dialectic. And she was able to participate in a much, much higher way and have a lot more success. And then the last episodes, we were able to reflect on that and gain learning from those experiences. It's not the experiences themselves that we benefit from, it's our understanding of them. So we gained a lot in that last episode. I recommend checking that out if you missed it. So that brings us up to where we are right now. So let's jump into part 3. So it begins by Harry, the believer, saying, "If it feels true to me, then it is true." Which is, of course, the functioning of all belief. Hey, if Jesus being king feels true, then it is true. If heaven and hell feels true, then it is true. If Donald Trump feels like he's telling the truth, then it is true. If sexism feels true, then it is true. So, this idea that everything is relative to beliefs is the justification for this sentiment. If it feels true because of my belief's interpretation, it's not because I am blocked or blind or sick, which is the truth. It's because that sickness is actually health. The false is true, actually. The bad is good, actually. Right? Think of any belief-based group that functions on its belief. Hey, it's true that it's good to kill Palestinians because we believe it in our religious beliefs. It's good to enslave 99% of our population because we believe capitalism is good. We feel it. So Joseph points out that's a claim about knowledge. If it's a claim about knowledge, let's nail down what knowledge is. Do you have any right to make that claim about what's true? Do you have any right to make a medical claim without the knowledge of medicine? No. Do you have any right to make a claim about how the pilot should land the plane without any knowledge of aviation? Hello, welcome. Don't know what that means. So, when human beings make a claim about truth, they are making a knowledge claim. What is the field that we require that knowledge of to be able to say, I know what's real, I know what's worth doing, I know what the self is? That's our question, right? Get it right at the beginning of the chapter, of the section. So by the way, Joseph has to point out I know because all you know is belief that you're expecting a con, because belief is a con. It's a grift. Anyone who convinces you to act against your own benefit and interest is conning you. Excuse me, pardon me. It's a con. Anyone who says, hey, just believe me, bro, because God, because Jesus, because founding fathers, because mummy and daddy says so, are conning you. Why believe someone else if you can understand for yourself? So, I know you might think this is a con because all you know is belief, but what we are doing is not just exploring ideas through understanding, but because we're exploring ideas of truth itself, reality itself, the self itself, we are opening ourselves up to higher, more profound levels of existence. That is spiritual or psychic growth. Evolution. Our evolution isn't a physical one from here on out. We don't grow wings. It's a evolution of thought, participation in intelligence. Interesting. I mentioned that this is perhaps the most meaningful book anybody can read. Most important. Top 10, definitely. So, of course, because all Harry knows is belief-based authority, believers have to do two things. Say, hey, believe my personal interpretations so I can manipulate you for my interests. And they have to do a second thing. They have to shut down understanding. If you grow out of your Christian beliefs or Muslim beliefs or whatever, Jewish beliefs or Protestant beliefs, then you're no longer a Protestant. So there's no room for growth. You can't change your mind. That's why debate is so appealing. Debating is fighting to defend your beliefs instead of learning new things. So, one way of shutting down higher states of being is teaching people that the things, the pills or drugs that can facilitate an insight into higher states of being is bad actually, is the devil actually. Ronald Reagan shit. You're just a pothead. So, hearing that understanding itself can develop knowledge which raises your state of existence to a higher, more profound level. Harry interprets that into the one area he has learned about psychic development: drugs. Now, Harry is very interested in drugs. Everyone is. Because we're all interested in our own psychic state and our own development. Can't get rid of that. And because every psychic state, every state of mind has a biochemical equivalent, we know for a fact that you can change your state of mind by adjusting that neurochemistry. It's no coincidence that we people like to have a drink of alcohol, or a edible, or a whatever, nicotine, caffeine. I'm drinking coffee now. Cheers. So the ones that facilitate our higher development, he has been taught to be afraid of. But he's still interested in it. Therefore, what have we learned about believers? They give you a way of being, but they also give you a way of talking about what you're interested in. Hey, homosexuality is bad in certain Christian groups. So if somebody's interested or curious about that, how do they talk about it? You could spend every single day thinking about gay stuff, so long as you are saying gays have to go to hell. And then, when they have a convention, the Grindr homosexual meetup app crashes. They were all gay the whole time, what a surprise. It wasn't a surprise if you understand how belief functions, to suppress and limit us, but You get to talk about what you're interested in so long as you do it in the way that you're taught to do it. And for believers, it's abuse. Why? Because you can't actually reflect and help. That requires understanding. You can't help a sick animal unless you understand veterinary medicine. But if you believe you are a vet, you can't help the animal, but you can kill it. You can step on its head. And that's, of course, what we see conservatism, capitalism, and religion doing to humanity, stepping on the heads of our species. Everyone. Because belief can't do anything good, it can only do harm. No good can happen, only bad happen. So, he can only talk about it in a bad way, but he is curious about it. So we can learn about what this means as a dialectician, as a philosopher. So Joseph is very patient with his stupidity and abuse and sadism, allowing Harry to finally get his real question out at the end. Now it's interesting that Harry is saying, oh, drugs are all bad, always, forever, without having any knowledge of the area. This is what belief offers people. Hey, you know nothing about this subject, but you can claim to be a knower so long as you appeal to belief. So you can say, have some preacher or some minister in front of 1,000 people telling people how relationships work. You should all love Jesus. How money. You should all give your money to the church, and then you'll get a return. They know nothing about relationships. They know nothing about economics. They'll tell you who to vote for. They know nothing about politics. This is the marketing point. It allows idiots who are ignorant to pretend to be knowers without any knowledge in the field, without doing any work. That's part of the appeal that it's part of the appeal that binds human beings to the sickness that we are in. Oh, conservatives like to bomb people to death. Oh. They're not helping. They're not making education better. They're not addressing the systems of oppression. They don't actually understand how to create the health and development of souls, but they can drop bombs. Oh. Same. Very basic principle. You need understanding to do good, but any idiot believer can do harm. It's just that simple. So, but he is talking about drugs. Joseph points out that however you have an experience of a higher level of consciousness or reality, whether it's from getting there by car, by walking, by prayer, by meditation, by drugs, whatever it is, it's important that you learn from what you do. It's the learning that changes us. So that's Harry's kick. Elea, of course, new to real philosophy, hears the word knowledge and thinks, oh, you mean scientific knowledge. But aren't our schools just pumping out weapons manufacturers, scientists that are finding new ways to kill people, to destroy the environment, to lie to people through algorithms and AI surveillance and mass media propaganda? In other words, all of these scientific inquiries, aren't they just killing people and the environment? So maybe we should first of all find a way to bring peace to our race. How does she say it? We should use our minds and spend our energy on saving the planet and protecting the environment, and then we will achieve peace. If we achieve peace, that will end the arms race. And if we end the arms race, that will put an end to all this scientific knowledge used for war and the destruction of the environment. Joseph says, good point, but I'm not focused on the effects of human ignorance. So he's not saying she's wrong, she's dead on. That's what we're pumping out. We're pumping out more scientifically evolved murderers and exploiters, and through the banking system, banking bros, through the finance system, finance bros, through the military-industrial complex, more nuclear weapons and guided missiles, and how to lie through politicians. More marketing. What's the biggest department in most universities? The marketing department. What's that? Marketing is lying. How to more efficiently lie to hawk your product or your political view that you can personally benefit from for profit. In the chat, this is why the world is lost. Yes. Yes. Following those that have no idea, leaders that aren't leaders. Exactly. Exactly. And what we're learning is, so that's our question for this part. What would make someone actually a leader? What would be the knowledge a leader has to actually make decisions to lead that can benefit? And what is the field that has that knowledge? For example, in order to help, yes, what is knowing? For example, in the field of your body, to be able to lead you to create a healthy body, you would say, oh, that's the role of a doctor who has knowledge in the field of medicine. So what is the knowledge or field of knowledge? Who is the expert or the leader who knows what knowing is? Is that one? If we have these many knowledges, the knowledge of how to fix a body, the knowledge of how to fly a plane, the knowledge of how to fix a car engine, is there a single knowledge above all of the knowledges that gives the principles that allows a doctor to lead? So if there is a knowledge of medicine that can bestow goodness or providence or care for the developing person, so long as that patient listens and follows the logos, follows the reasoning, listens to the doctor. What's the cause of that principle? Returning to grace. What is grace? What is grace exactly? Because some people say grace is just belief. If you believe in a religion, then the grace of Allah, or the grace of Muhammad, or the grace of Jesus. Oh, they can't all be right. At least 99% of those people are wrong, because they all claim to get grace from different sources. So who's right? But hang on a second, maybe 100% of people who say that grace means belief, or faith, or comes from faith, are wrong, because knowledge requires understanding. To be able to do goodness, you have to understand medicine. The creation spark, yes. How do you understand the nature of creation? How do you understand the nature of your soul? If you don't understand the soul, how can you actually say whether this is grace or harm? Imagine there were two doctors standing in front of you. One was a liar and one was an actual doctor. Who do you believe? They give you two different things. Who's right? Who do you listen to? Isn't that politics? Two people standing, who do you vote for? Are you right or are you left? So we don't want to just have faith or just have our own opinions. We want to nail down what exactly is knowledge. Is knowledge one, or are there many knowledges? Is there a knowledge of medicine, a knowledge of flying a plane, a knowledge of electronics, a knowledge of electricity, a knowledge of gravity? Are they different knowledges? Are they ranked hierarchically? And if they all have the same structure, where does that come from? Is there a knowledge of all knowledges? So in a similar way, Joseph says to Elea, yes, our educational system is pumping out greater mass murderers. That's why I'm not interested in the effects. I want to go to the root cause of human ignorance. Belief. How many economists learn to question the root belief that capitalism is good actually? How many lawyers learn to question the root belief that punishing people in a punitive justice system helps? How many business bros question the belief that it's good to exploit people for profit? None. They don't do that. Or maybe you get one or two, but it's not taught. You're not taught to question. And how many students understand the nature of belief itself, so we can uncover our own personal beliefs that cause us to be bad people, even though we think we are doing good, causing us to think we know something we don't. How many people do the philosophy we do here? Almost none. You count them on two hands maybe, if you're lucky. Why? Because nobody learns to question the belief that they have knowledge about knowledge they don't have. I mean, maybe there are a few people out there, I haven't seen them. Been looking. So that's the issue. The longer you stay on a certain subject, the more knowledge is gained. Right, so every time you've eaten food a lot, right? You've eaten a lot of food, therefore you are an expert chef. You've had a lot of experience. Hey, you've seen a lot of football on TV. You should be in the NFL. You've driven in a car. You've been on a bus a lot. So is it experience that gives us knowledge? Or is there something else that you have to do to actually gain knowledge? It's not about, is it about how much time you spend on something, or what you're doing with that time? Hey, someone who's had cancer their whole life, are they an expert on cancer? Nope. But someone who spends a lot of time learning about the nature of a healthy body and its illnesses. So that's why Joseph says, I'm not looking at the specific effects of a sick educational system. I want to look at the origin and the nature of belief itself. And for us, we can realize, oh, I know what he's saying. This is the cause of all of the injustice. So, what sort of questions? What gets us locked up into beliefs if wisdom is so great? Why do people defend their own personal beliefs, or religion, or political views, or incel sexism, or Nazi racism? Why do people fight and die to defend their beliefs if wisdom is so much better in every possible way? Why do people act against their own benefit and interests? Again, a problem with this channel. Why don't people do this? Yeah, why do people believe when knowledge is so much better? Or wisdom, knowledge and understanding. So, if beliefs, why are beliefs so powerful? To block our development. Yet we don't even know we have them. Ever talk to a racist? They will ironically say, I'm not racist, but, and then they'll say the most racist shit you've ever heard. They don't know they have a belief. They think they are, fear might be a part of it. So we're hoping that the answer to these questions will come as we continue to read. So what we are doing is collecting all the questions. Why do beliefs have so much power? And we can build the energy of that question by bringing in analogies. Ever talk to a racist? Ever talk to a religious nutjob? Ever talk to a MAGA? Ever seen Instagram where a comedian asks a MAGA questions? And with simple logic, it shows how stupid they are, but they never change their mind. They only just get violent. Ever wondered why MAGA votes for people who take away all of the things they need, like healthcare and fighting wealth inequality? Ever wondered? So what are we doing? We're building the question. We're getting curious and curious and curious and puzzled and puzzled and puzzled. We can bring in ideas. Maybe it's to do with fear. Maybe it's to do with upbringing. I mean, Jewish kids have Jewish parents, and Muslim kids have Muslim parents. So that's a belief that people get entrenched in. So maybe it's to do with how you're raised. So we're developing the question. We're hoping that the book answers the question for us. That's reading. Like playing a video game. You look for the puzzle in the video game, and then you make sure that you can solve it using the video game. You don't want to solve it with your own beliefs and opinions. When you're playing Resident Evil, you don't bring a blue key from Silent Hill. Oh, I have to open the blue door with the blue key. Thankfully, I played Mario Party, and I got a blue key, or Mario Galaxy. I'll use that. No, you can't use a key from a different game. So, how does beliefs get the power? And if we can answer those questions and help our own self remove our own belief-based blocks that cause our own injustice and conflict, can we understand it? If so, could that be a field of knowledge to understand how the nature of belief and how to remove human problems? And if that is a field of knowledge, could it be taught in all schools? Considering we are all human beings who all have problems, who all have root beliefs that we don't even know we carry that block us as the root, wouldn't it be rational and just to teach this knowledge that we discover in every single school? Would that put an end to the problems that Elea is seeing? The destruction of our environment and the arms race and weapons of war? If so, could this be one of the most important books ever written? And one of the most important books for us to read? If so, hooray. And for everybody reading along,
I'm joy maxing, okay? And if we're
joy maxing.
You're beautiful and everybody loves you, and you have the most beautiful breasts and the juiciest ass.
It's you reading. You're beautiful and juicy. Everyone who's doing this along with us. So Elea's like, wow. So these are the questions. Nope, there's another side of it. What's that, says Elea. Is knowledge one or many? The same thing that we've been talking about today. So is this knowledge of belief a single knowledge or one of the many knowledges? Is knowledge one or many? And if it's many, does it admit of different various kinds of knowledge? Elea says, I can't imagine going around with a question like that. Is that what you call being philosophical? Not quite. That's called being philosophically pregnant, which is what we were talking about. The nurturing, the giving birth to these, well, not giving birth, the giving rise to these questions within us and building up the energy, using analogies, making it meaningful. What would it be like to live in a world where we didn't have injustice? What would it be like to learn this in schools? What would it be like to know the self? Would it be a different world than everyone walking around thinking they know the self when they're wrong and they act in terrible ways because of it? Have you ever talked to a racist? Ever talked to a religious person? Ever talked to a MAGA person? Ever talked to a finance bro person? Ever tried to help them reflect on the root beliefs that are causing them to act harmfully in their own lives and in society? Ever worked? Why? Why not? Shouldn't they be benefited by reflection and learning? Then why are they so blocked? So are we kind of giving rise to a pregnancy within us? So can you give me an example of what it means to be philosophically pregnant? And then this is where we get the name. In the Theaetetus, Socrates talks to a young man, a young bright man. You know, it's only the bright people that can play this game. So if you're watching this, congratulations, you're a bright spark. People are only these labels because of the beliefs they have. Yes, these are names to point to people within these belief groups. I am a Jew, I am a Mormon, I am a MAGA, I am a Nazi. Notice, they identify with it. Makes it harder for them to remove it because they're not just letting go of, they're not just destroying the false belief that causes harm, they're destroying their self. And we have a sound drop for this.
Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person. And it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I?
If I change this, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? So, Socrates in the book The Theaetetus meets a bright young man, and he says, and he has a conversation with him. And Socrates says, hey, can you find a single formula that grasps the many kinds of knowledge into one? Theaetetus describes the state of mind that question puts him in. Notice, questions are to do with states of mind. Nurturing of a question puts you in a certain state of mind. It's how you experience yourself in reality. In the last couple of episodes, we had dialogues with two different kinds of people. One kind of person who was stuck in belief, and they were in a very negative, abusive state of mind, and one person who was more familiar with this channel and has questions about her blocks. She was in an open, receptive state of mind. She was able to follow the dialogue. She was able to follow reason. She was able to give rise to insights. So, one person had a question, the other person had certainty. The believer, I know what philosophy is. My teacher told me that philosophy was debating beliefs and trying to win arguments by lying in conversations. Debate perverts.
Debate pervert.
Debate pervert.
Debate dweeb. Debate pervert.
So, questions are to do with states of mind. And this takes us back to the model that we developed last episode. So this question of if there are many kinds of knowledge, is there a single knowledge at its source? That's the question that Socrates asked Theaetetus, and Joseph is asking Elea, and hopefully we are wondering about. On the other side, we can ask, hey, the many kinds of beliefs that people have, sexist beliefs, religious beliefs, conservative beliefs, capitalist beliefs, racist beliefs. Or is there a single knowledge of belief itself? Or in a particular person, he has this problem in his relationships. That person we're having a dialogue with, he was lying. He was trying to distract from the conversation. He was trying to use insults. He was trying to take over the conversation. All of these negative ways that made him function in an unjust way. Is there a root belief behind it that he would have to look for to remove all of these many problems? So it's a many into one question for belief and for knowledge. Knowledge is about perfecting understanding of that field and mastering it with excellence so you can use it. That's the self-logos. That's the understandability or the rationality or the intelligibility of reality or of that field. That's the self-logos. So that's what we're here to do. To master understanding and know the self. Equally so, the other thing we have to do is remove our problems. So if beliefs function in opposition to understanding, In order to perfect understanding, we have to purify our beliefs. But if the beliefs are the cause of our problems, we won't be able to solve our problems unless we surface our beliefs. But we won't be able to surface our beliefs unless we are seeking to master a subject with excellence. If you're not seeking to master math or music or science or philosophy or reading or midwifery or the dialectic, any of these kinds of things, how will you know when that you've got a block that you've been carrying? So you have to be seeking to min-max to reach with excellence a personally meaningful goal. And then when you seek that understanding or that mastery, as you develop your understanding, you'll face blocks on those steps to reaching your goal. So that's the surfacing of your problems that you can then write down as a manyness. I had this problem yesterday, and this problem today, and this problem last week, and this problem in my relationship, and this problem in my tangents, and this problem in my daydreams, and this problem in my fantasies, and this problem in my night dreams. So you can go on that quest to solve the puzzle. What's the root cause? So those are the two things we're here to do as human beings. And as Joseph is saying, hey, why don't we teach how to solve human problems by understanding beliefs at school? We could also say, hey, why not do the other thing at school? If these are the two things that we are here to do, all human beings, so our purpose, why don't we learn them properly? We're seeing that to do that, there is some sort of ousia that we do. We have to reflect on ourselves, either our problems or our excellence, and we have to do that reflection properly with logos, with understanding, with language. The following of reason and evidence, or reason and experience, is the dialectic. So dialectic is the power of the logos. And you can't do it unless you're curious and open in your ousia, self-reflection, in your state of mind. So you need a question. A question will put you in a good state of mind, and you can use that state of mind with the dialectic. So whether you're removing problems or reaching excellence, it's a matter of ousia and logos, questions and dialectic, your state of mind and understanding. So two things we're here to do as human beings, and two aspects for how to do both of them. And if we do that, we can participate in our benefit or our growth. Providence. And what Joseph is telling us is, hey, this involves something similar to giving birth. There is something called being philosophically pregnant. That's where we are. And now I'm outside.
You're a little bitch-ass baby.
And now I'm a little bitch-ass baby.
I've been a bad little girl.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to get you. I'm going to find you. And I'm going to get you.
I'm going to get you for being outside. So, Theotitus said, hey, you, the state of mind, that question, the state of mind, that question put me in about whether there's, you can bring all knowledges into a single knowledge. He said this, "But I assure you, Socrates, I have often set myself to study that problem." Now, he sounds like an old person, because that's the voice that I can do, but it says that he's a young person.
Oh, Socrates.
No, I can't do it. I don't know. I'll do an old person voice. "I have often set myself to study that problem when I heard reports of the questions you ask, but I cannot persuade myself that I can give a satisfactory solution, or that anyone has ever stated, in my hearing, the sort of answer you require. Yet I can't get that question out of my mind." Socrates calls that state of mind being philosophically pregnant?
I'm eating the.
I don't want to eat a monkey.
I'm eating, I don't want to eat a monkey. So, Elea points out, hang on a second, it sounds like once you've created the conditions for that kind of a question to come forth, the question has you. Oh! So we're seeing the similarity. So we're seeing that, hang on a second, just as Harry doesn't have his belief has him, causing him to act against his own interests. Elea, on the other side of the game, Elea isn't interested in Harry's bullshit. It makes you wonder why. Well, one of the questions is, why is someone like Elea with someone like Harry? And Elea talked about her father saying similar things. So if our beliefs about beauty and relationships come from our upbringing, maybe we have some work to do to find a different standard of beauty and a kind of person for our relationships. Because Elea isn't interested in Harry's bullshit. Elea wants to know about this. So she's saying, hey, the question has us. So we can benefit by realizing anything we learn about our perfection of the logos, we can find an analogical equivalent in the purification of our pathologos, our sick beliefs. It's a win-win.
Win, 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 win.
Win, 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 win. She says, thanks, that's some state of mind. I'll have fun figuring out exactly how many points are in that quote. But one thing is clear enough. Theaetetus doesn't have the question has him. Also, neither Harry, her boyf, nor I have been pregnant like that. As a matter of fact, I doubt I've ever met anyone pregnant in that sense of the word. How do you figure that? Somehow we have lost something, haven't we? Joseph says that's not an easy question to answer. I think we've been convinced there are narrow limits to what we can know, and any attempt to go beyond the common sense view is scorned, so that the study of metaphysics is deemed as irrelevant. So, a very common thing that prevents people from learning what they're supposed to be learning, these two things, and doing what we are doing here. They have been convinced that you can't know the meaning of life. You can't know where you go when you die. You can't know the different ways of dying. You can't know where you were before you were here. You can't know the meaning of life. Well, I've already said that one. You can't know how to reach the highest states of enlightenment. You can't know what is beyond the cycle of reincarnation. Bullshit! Who told you that? Not Socrates. All of those things is the field of knowledge called metaphysics. You can know them. You're supposed to know them. In fact, that's what we're here for. Any one of those questions are a good question that you need to become philosophically pregnant. And when you seek to answer those questions properly, like Theaetetus, not only do I not know what happens when you die, I've never met anyone who's given me a satisfactory answer. You don't care about people's stupid opinions if you really have the question. So you can see for yourself that everything is relative to beliefs, breaks down. If you need to go to a doctor because you have a broken arm, someone's medical opinions you wouldn't give two shits about. I don't care about your opinions, Aunt Betty. I need to go to a doctor who has the knowledge of medicine because my goddamn arm is broken. Now, if we have a question about our purpose or our nature or our meaning of that kind, then we also wouldn't give two shits about Aunt Betty's crazy, stupid opinions. We want to find someone with knowledge and ourselves gain that knowledge and understanding to answer our question. True death takes place within, reborn with a different state of mind. Possibly add that to your question. Now, you want to nurture that question, hold on to it, or nurture that question, become curious about it until that question grabs you and you can't not think about it. You always think about it. And then we have to find the answers in the text. That's why we read the books. We read these books written by Socrates, only translated by Juan Balboa, the accurate translation, and the text by Pierre Grimes, and the soon maybe the properly translated texts of Homer, because they are people who have mastered this knowledge. And they write in such a way to give us the tools to answer these questions in understanding and verify them ourselves in our own states of mind. So, good question. Keep a hold of it. Don't get rid of that pregnancy before it's ready. So, all of these things are questions we have to have that motivate our excellence, and we also need to surface. Only when you seek to answer that question will you surface as you follow the steps, because you have to be reading, you have to be looking at your dreams, you have to be doing dialectics with people to reflect on those things. You'll find blocks that come up along the way. So you have to have these sorts of questions that our society says you can't answer, because the people who are in charge of metaphysics, the fucking Catholic Church, don't know shit about any of these things. And instead of being honest and saying, well, I don't know, they say, no, nobody can know. Ever met a dumb person? Like, for example, the Insane Clown Posse, that's a good example. What if we never had the text? Someone started somewhere without all this, did they not? Well, if you didn't have the text, you'd have to rediscover it yourself. That would take you a lot of time, and you'd have to be a certain kind of person. Like, for example, the author that we are reading, Pierre Grimes, was one of the first Western intellectuals to study Eastern spirituality and Zen Buddhism, good friends with Alan Watts. But he was also a genius. Like, he was very, very intelligent. He became a doctor of philosophy. But he was also very, very disciplined. He was a war hero against the Nazis in World War II. So he was a very, very rare type of person. And later on in his life, because of the conditions, because psychology was new in like the 650s and 60s, we didn't really have psychology. Today, we don't have the model of the psychic health. So modern psychology is stealing from the model of knowledge of medicine. What we are learning is the true model of psychology. But we don't have it yet. It's not, people aren't learning this yet, hopefully soon. But back then, there are lots of people struggling, for example, with alcoholism. And Pierre was a philosopher, and they said, go help these alcoholics. Because of his character and his experience within having a great amount of success in meditation and Zen Buddhism, as well as having a high level of intelligence and a high level of character, he was curious about the nature of human problems. And so when he was helping these alcoholics, well, see, grace is a loaded word. Grace normally means belief. Like, just believe hard enough and maybe magic will happen. We don't want that. We want to understand. We want to find the steps. If you want to become a doctor, you can't wait for grace. It doesn't work. You have to develop an understanding. Read the books. You can't interpret the books. You have to learn how to read without interpretation. You have to develop discipline, focus. The thing that sends you what you're saying. Again, I would ask, who taught you the word grace? Because grace is normally meant by magic from Jesus, or Allah, or Moses. Which one? Zeus? In other words, we have to understand. Even if you do get a gift from the divine, how can you benefit from it unless you understand it? There are many people who have insightful states of mind, or near-death experiences, or drug experiences, or out-of-body experiences. Does it last? Give them a week and they're back into their problems again. In other words, we have to learn to understand our insights wherever they come from. Again, within and without. Do you mean within physically? Or are you using the word within? Because it's not in our cells, it's of a higher dimension. Is that what you mean by within? Within the psyche? Or of a higher dimension of intelligence? If you are saying that there is grace from a higher dimension of intelligence, how many dimensions are there? Can we traverse them? Can we raise our mind? Can we be like the divine that can offer grace to other people? Is that what a dialectician does? Facilitates the participation in goodness from the divine? Do you see how important it is to answer all of these questions and develop it into a knowledge? Otherwise, you're just getting the beliefs that you grew up with, and you're just stuck in belief. Crossing your fingers and hope that your parents who taught you these beliefs were right all along. But that's never the case. So anyway, in helping these alcoholics, he discovered how to trace our problems back to a root belief and how to address them using the dialectic. So he rediscovered the art of philosophical midwifery that Socrates is talking about. So again, that's a very, very rare. You could say that this Pierre Grimes fellow was a gift from the divine. Because after we killed Socrates, we lost the art of solving human problems. Plato didn't have it. Plato was too young when the stupid believers of religion and government killed Socrates. We fucked up, big time. We can't afford to fuck up like that again. Fortunately, Socrates wasn't able to pass on how to address the cause of human problems, the things that Joseph has been talking about. By the way, Joseph went to Golden West College where Pierre taught. So because Plato was in his 20s when they killed his teacher, that's not long enough to master midwifery. Thankfully, we had Pierre Grimes. That's why we all should be reading the orange book called Philosophical Midwifery, a new paradigm for solving human problems. We're about 4 chapters in on this book on our YouTubes. We will be going back to it soon. We took a pause to read the Socrates and Jesus, A Dialogue in Heaven book, and now this one here. But we will be going back to it. And that book can be a bit tricky. So there's another book called Unblocking. No, The Pocket Pierre. It's a more easy to read version of philosophical midwifery. And it comes along with a workbook called Unblocking. So you can buy these 2 on Amazon. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, although we will, because in learning to read the books that we are reading here, we can discover this for ourselves. We can develop our own understanding. In other words, yeah, you could reinvent medicine if you were, I don't know, fucking genius. But because of all of the work done by geniuses along the way, you can still be a doctor, but you have to read the medical books and develop understanding and gain knowledge or insight into the health of the human body. But in doing so, you will find your blocks. I'm not good enough. Or various versions of that. So that's what we're here to do. Understand not what blocks doctors from becoming excellent doctors, but what blocks all people from reaching their intelligible goals. What's the cause of all problems? And Elea said, wow, it's all to do with belief, so we have to develop all these questions. So it's another many to one. So we could say, Elea says, hey, I'm going to look back in all of those things that you said about belief. No, about knowledge, but this works the same for belief. So all of those things Theaetetus says about belief, about knowledge, sorts of questions, no sufficient answers, stuck in my mind, has to satisfy the question, satisfy the kind of answer that Socrates wants. Also the kinds of questions. All of these many ideas come together into a mega question. Color. Philosophically pregnant. What are we seeing? There's a symmetry between the logos and pathologos. It's what we can say of one. We can find an analogy to our problems. So we go back to the text. Oh, shit, if he's saying this... So Elea say, wow, I'll have fun figuring out exactly how many points are in that quote. That's a message to you. It's like you're playing Resident Evil and sexy Claire or sexy Jill comes across an old desk in the Raccoon City Police Department, and she opens a drawer and there's Officer Frank there, and you see a little note and he says, well, it seems like the new recruit Bill keeps misplacing the gems we need to open the weapons storeroom. I'll suppose I'm going to have to go through all of the offices and collect all those gems if I want to get to that weaponry. And then Jill reads that. And we know, oh, that's a message to us that we have to do those things. We have to collect the gems so we can get into the weapon storeroom, so we can find the rocket launcher, so we can blow up the T-virus, or Wesker, or Professor T, Mr. T, Mr. X, something. So, same thing. Solving a puzzle. So all of those things that we just did, we could also go back. So as to find all the aspects within the question that Theaetetus has that made him pregnant with that bigger question, the mega question. So too, we could go back and say all the things that Joseph says about belief. Why do we get locked up if wisdom is so great? Why is it that the beliefs are so powerful? They block our development. We don't know we have them. So all this stuff we could do equally. All of the questions that we can be developing about our own blocks and problems that cause our injustice or blindness or blocks. Locked up. We're locked up in our beliefs. This is the belief, the pathologos side. Pathologos is the official name for the... So going back to that description of Pierre Grimes working with alcoholics, he was able to solve alcoholism by realizing that there is a root belief behind all of the many expressions of this person's alcoholism. But of course, that particular person wasn't interested in solving his alcohol problem. He didn't have a question. Can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. So we want to make sure that we want to be helped. So if we ever come across a Pierre Grimes or a Socrates in our life, we will fucking pay attention. Imagine, what are the odds out of the 8 billion people on our planet? There was one Pierre Grimes. There was one Socrates. Or back in Socrates' times, there might have been a few actually, because Socrates had different teachers. But since Socrates, how many others like them have there been? One? We're reading his book, by the way. Socrates didn't write a book. So, the rare odds, now we have the internet, so, you know, you could up your odds, but then we have these algorithms that are owned by the billionaire Epstein class that are trying to get you into right-wing conservative politics, which is belief-based, trying to get you in the religious pipeline, which is belief-based, and try to get you to be money grifting finance bros, which is a belief-based system of capitalism, because these are belief. It's the tool of the unjust to scam you. So we could say, well, we've got internet, so there is a more likely chance you could come across the lectures from Pierre Grimes or the books from Pierre Grimes, but, you know, yes, but also the algorithm makes it harder. Anyway, so if we do get lucky on that dice roll, we want to make sure we don't we are curious enough, we have been nurturing our own question enough that we value that person, listen to that person, and do our best to follow the dialectic. So we get locked up in our beliefs. Even though wisdom is so great. In other words, we are so tied to our ignorance and fight tooth and nail and debate any idiot, even if it's, debate any person like an idiot, even if it's Socrates. Despite the fact wisdom is so great, why don't you want wisdom? They have power. Where does the power come from? Powerful. They block our development. So how can you become that doctor, if that's your goal, if you believe that you're no good, or you're stupid, or you're just a girl, or you're a dumb broad?
Bull testicles. Bull testicles.
Bull testicles indeed.
It's a total shit show.
So they block our development.
Oh, to be a man, honorable, filled with honor, and he is walking that talk, man.
Oh my goodness, you made me blush.
The T-virus will transform me into an epic creation.
Epic creation, exactly, the T-virus. Block our development. We don't know we have them. We don't know. Which is, hey, I'm not racist, but racist shit. I'm not a sexist, but some sexist shit. And they'll say, hey, by the way, it's just common sense. I'm not racist, but it's just common sense that... I'm not an incel, it's just common sense that... Right? Don't know we have it. Don't know we have them. And there, as a source, where does it get its power? What is the S-O-U-R-C-E? Is spell source? The source of its power. If people, as we've mentioned before, have that spark, or through providence or luck or drugs or near-death experiences or meditation experiences or sport experiences or all sorts of different ways that you can have that insight of wisdom, why? And after that, the power of your false beliefs drags you back into your old way of being. We could say belief, more powerful than even wisdom, a direct insight into the truth of reality, could be the most powerful force of our universe. What's the source of the power of this most powerful force? So all of these questions, how do we do it over here? All of those questions about being philosophically pregnant with a high idea is there a different kind of what color? This one. Question. Can we say there's a different kind of philosophical pregnancy? So, the same thing we did to Theaetetus, we did to Joseph, because we have to do both. We have to master our problems to free ourselves from our problems and master excellence. But hang on a second. Are they two different questions? Are they two different questions that we nurture like a pregnancy that we can then, when we're ready to give birth to insight and knowledge? Oh, we're back to the same question, aren't we? Are there many knowledges, including this kind of question and that kind of question? Or is it one? Is it the same sort of question about whether or not knowledge is one or many that we have here? The many aspects of belief to understand the nature of belief? Is that like this? To become philosophically pregnant about a kind of high question? To be philosophically pregnant about a kind of low question or a blocking question? Is it a one or knowledge? Or sorry, is it a one or many? Where's my coffee? Jumping back in. So collect those points together. Oh, and by the way, neither her nor her boyf has been pregnant like that, and they haven't met people pregnant like that. Oh, it's a small club. We're always accepting members. For those of us who are willing to let go of our beliefs and opinions that make sense of what is most important and play the game of developing a philosophical pregnancy so we can give birth to higher knowledge, insights, and levels of existence that the former beliefs we've been carrying don't allow us to. For example, our friend in chat today has some wonderful beliefs and opinions about grace and the spark within. Fantastic. Can you turn them into questions? Could you even reflect on them to see where you got them from? In other words, could we put aside our beliefs and opinions and instead develop a question? What's the difference between I know the answer to I wonder what the answer is? Can we turn them into questions? Are we willing to let go of our old beliefs that we have been using to develop our deeper knowledge? And if the beliefs we've been carrying affords us a certain level of existence, if we're willing to give up our dearly held familiar beliefs from our upbringing and family, etc. If we're willing to let that go, could we be open to more profound levels of existence? That's what's on the table. That's why it's a meaningful book. So, difficult because we're taught that you can't know those things. You can't know what God is, just have religion. You can't know how to organize society to help the development to nurture the development of the souls. Just have democracy. Vote for this capitalist or this capitalist. You can't know how to share resources efficiently, renewably, and sustainably. Just allow Epstein billionaire class to have everything and kill everyone they don't like or for fun. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. Bullshit. And to you,
Don't be disgusting.
don't be
That's
disgusting.
insane. Like, you need help. There's no help, actually. You need a straitjacket.
And you need a straitjacket if you think those things are not knowable. So, of course, we use these important things of our physical world, politics, religion, and economics, as a metaphor or as a lower down. It's very easy to see. Yes, economists say, you can't understand the economy, it's too complicated, as they fucking steal everything. Politicians say, you can't understand, just vote for us. Religious people, you can't understand God. So we're taking all those physical world examples as metaphors to our own growth and development. What have you been told you can't know? And who convinced you of that belief? Because Socrates is here saying, garbage. To that, he says,
You're a baby. You're a little baby.
You're a little baby.
Brain of a baby.
Brain of a baby. That's a good one. Fit. So, he goes on to say, many teachers have persuaded us to become junior scientists, but how many encourage you to be philosophers? None. Well, this guy who taught at Golden West, but apart from him, who? Now, even if you wanted to cast a wide net and include academic philosophy, which is not philosophy but philodoxy, a love of opinions, even that's kind of taken as a joke. Huh, philosophy? Why do you want to study that at college? Yeah, you know what philosophers get as a job? A job at fast food. They work at McDonald's. Ha 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 ha. So they're not really encouraged to do it. And even if you do it, it's garbage. Oh, I have Professor Bill. His opinions is the world is a physical world. Oh no, next semester I have Professor Frank. His opinion is that you can explain all intelligence through evolution only. Now we have Professor Jim. Who cares? Yes, every different philosophy professor has different opinions, except for the guy that we're reading, who is helping us understand what opinions are and how they differ from knowledge, and how the process of gaining beliefs and opinions is different from the process of gaining knowledge. That's what we're learning. So the difficulty is that if you are interested in metaphysics, all of the language is stolen by the fucking Catholic Church. And so when you think about metaphysics, you think about the Dark Ages. And you spring images of religious bigotry, intolerance, religious wars, inquisitions, and the total suppression of non-Christian cultures. These are all linked to metaphysics and studying God and the nature of the divine. All the worst horrific shit. So metaphysics is seen, or is still being seen, as justifying and supporting that bloodbath. So most people I know would prefer to keep the lid on the box and ignore it and just hope that history won't repeat itself. But it is repeating itself. So this just ignore it idea is garbage. And just as we are learning, we have to take the language back or see how the language is misused in philodoxia, academic philosophy, we also have to see how the language of metaphysics or understanding the nature of God and the afterlife and the intelligent realm. So metaphysics is studying the realm of the divine or intelligence itself that transcends the physical world. Wisdom. But of course, Emperor Fuckface McGee in the Dark Ages killed the philosophers and said, oh no, I'm in charge actually, because I killed you and I'm a religious idiot. The Dark Ages. 529 AD, the shutting down of the academy, the end to the Western spiritual tradition, and the introduction of Christianity through the Catholic Church and the everything going to shit. The Dark Ages and the subsequent murder, torture, subjugation of women, enslaving of whole races of people, genocides, inquisitions. And if you want to tune into that TV show today, just tune into the American political system and see what's going on there. In other words, we can't just ignore it and hope it doesn't play out again, because it is playing out again. We have Christo-nationalist fucking Nazis doing genocides right now, and they're streaming it in 4K. And then we say, hey, let's understand why that's happening and why we don't have to kill people. They'll say, no, you can't know that. It's unknowable. So Harry doesn't think we need to understand the nature of the divine because he's an idiot. He's a believer. Same thing. What wisdom traditions actually are is what they do is they give us maps for reaching and integrating the highest levels of experience. And so we have been doing the work. Thankfully, we have this book to read. Doing the work in developing these maps. How we can experience and integrate it. It's a contemplative path. In other words, it should give rise to higher states of existence and spiritual, non-physical experiences of reality. That's what contemplation means. And our job is to master it, teach it, and to do it. Oh, and to add to it. Master it, teach it, and to add to the tradition. So you could write a sequel to this book if you were keen. I'd love to read it. So philosophy isn't taught as a contemplative path in academia, and common sense, stupid ignorance taken as knowledge, pragmatism, physical world only, Christianity, a disgustingly sick and violent and false idea of the nature of the divine, are all hostile to actually understanding the wisdom tradition. To do real philosophy is to be Hellenic. You could call that Platonic philosophy. Of course, we just mentioned you have to also integrate the pathologos that Plato doesn't have. But, we can do that. Harry wants to hear about the drugs again, even though he talks about it in a negative sense. And Harry says, look, here's what I've found. There are two classes of people who use drugs to escape and people who use it to learn and for the right reasons. If you want to risk it, and it is a risk, you don't know if you're going to get enlightened or an enlightenment experience, but at least do it for the highest reasons and do it in the best way. And the expression used commonly today is right, set, and setting. Mindset and space to do it in. And eventually we'll recognize that, for all of the different stages of psychic development in the wisdom tradition that we are discovering again, or learning again, there would be a biochemical equivalent in your brain state. So, just as we use modern medicine to speed up the body's healing process, and we can't not do that anymore because it's so goddamn successful, so too, when we realize that the nature of human problems isn't just physical, but is a problem of the mind, the politicians, religious, and capitalist people who use their mind to convince the minds of others to do horrific stuff and end our species, then we will recognize that the mind has two ways of functioning primarily, belief and understanding, and the good one, understanding, is needed to solve the bad one, belief, and free from that ignorance of belief, we can use understanding to develop even higher states of being beyond the common sense physical worldview. And that's our purpose. And so having been freed from the ignorance of belief and the sadistic injustice of belief, we can develop into higher and higher states of being. And seeing as we have learnt from the medical model that we can facilitate that health and development through biochemistry, we could do the same thing with our psychic development. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
So, we have to recognize that there are people trying to escape their problems, which would either be their own personal problems. So you can't. So while we can use biochemistry to facilitate our spiritual evolution of the self-logos, we have to at the same time be addressing our pathologos. You can't do one without the other. because if you are trying to escape your pathologos problems, those drugs can turn you into a zombie. Or if the problems that you're trying to escape from are societal problems, the systemic oppression and violence of conservatism, capitalism, and religion, then we better also be, as a society, addressing those problems, because every one of those systems of violent oppression have at its root a human being's beliefs, either inherited through a family clan, inherited as part of his tradition, or developed by himself and a group of Epstein billionaires. Either way, the root source of all human problems is a false belief we are carrying. So we have to be doing both. And just as we have seen that there are certain states of mind that make it easier to reflect on your problems, being in a war zone or being starving or being unsure whether you'll have a house to live in tomorrow, those make it very difficult to reflect on your problems. Most ideally, also a punitive system, thinking, well, if I tell the truth, but somebody says, oh, that's wrong, now I can dox you or pile on you or cancel you or put you in prison. That won't make the ideal conditions for self-reflection. So we also, as a society, have to be addressing the problems too, to create the ideal conditions for addressing our individual problems and not trying to escape them, and addressing our societal problems and not trying to escape them. Hey, people who are homeless, what do the fascists say? They deserve to be homeless and we deserve all the houses because they do drugs. But don't you do drugs? Yes, but we do cocaine. They do drugs to escape the pain of living on the fucking street that we caused. Oh, so we can understand why they're trying to escape the suffering of the problems that you created, you fucking fascist. So we have to be addressing both. We can't just be using biochemistry to help our spiritual development while ignoring the personal pathologos problems or the societal pathologos problems that human beings will be doing their best to escape from if they think they can't solve it. We need to learn and teach the method of solving problems, both individually and collectively, so people don't feel the need to have to escape them. In other words, once again, both the understanding of how to address human problems or purify beliefs or the pathologos, as well as learning how to perfect understanding and master our excellence of the self-logos, would both have to be taught in schools. You have to be taught in schools. That's true education. It seems as a logical or as a rational step following the text by reading what's there. Reading what's there, including the puzzles that we are being given to solve in the way that we're doing it. So that's the drug question answered, or at least at the level we're at currently. So Elea says, okay, now that we've addressed that, how drugs are used properly or beneficially, but also how that can be used to escape, and how we better be making the conditions for one, and make the conditions through teaching this in school so we can use our drug experiences to develop our self and state and level of being, but also recognizing that those who turned, that even if we have the most profoundly beautiful samhati wrapped in a smoke or a pill, the escapists will turn into zombies. So we better address the cause or conditions for people wanting to escape. If we do that, we're golden. Golden. We will recreate, we will rediscover a new golden age of history. It'd be a win-win.
Win-win-win-win-win.
I guess. UFOs might be Jesus.
But I don't think UFOs might be Jesus.
Off the perky, call me Kirky.
That's off the perky. Call me Kirky.
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie pie.
Okay, Emma. Thanks, Emma.
Gooner bait.
That's just gonna bait, Emma. So that's where we are in the text. Let's play the noise. That means we're ready to read further. Good little dance. Bring in our dudes. Elea. Hey, listen, boys, talking about drugs. Have you finished trading your position papers? Let's get on with it. Please recall, Harry, that you did turn the discussion over to me, didn't you? I want to return to that last point. Now, Joseph, please don't give another long answer like your last digression. Please tell me, what would be born from such a philosophical pregnancy? And if philosophy has something you call philosophical midwifery, giving birth, facilitating the giving birth, shouldn't there be a delivery? Oh.
Now we're getting into Jordan Peterson levels of whimsy.
Now we're getting into extreme Jordan Peterson levels of whimsy.
Honestly, on the real, I say stuff like that because I'm cool.
Cool as a cuke?
Cool as a cuke.
Thought so. Joseph. Most likely, the delivery of an insight into one of those questions we are exploring would be a good birth. Oh, so it's a delivery of an insight. Okay, how that? Into one of those questions we were exploring about knowledge would be a good birth. And others would be identifying what blocks us from understanding. Identifying a block to understanding such things. Oh. And understanding the process that uncovers and removes these blocks. Ooh. So our theory is starting to pan out. There is two kinds of births. Identifying what blocks us from understanding those things. So that would be a kind of insight into a block. And understanding the process that uncovers and removes. So there's also a kind of birth, a kind of birth into the methodology. So an insight into those high questions, an understanding, identification of a block, or understanding the process of getting rid of blocks. Three kinds of births. Or maybe understanding what blocks us from understanding is involved in order to understand how to remove your blocks, you also have to understand the being of the midwife too, maybe. So there's 2 or 3 questions on the table. Suppose for a moment I wanted to explore some of those ideas, especially the one about philosophical midwifery. Where would you send me? To this channel!
Do a poggers.
Do a poggers. To Plato's dialogues. Also good. No, also good. To Plato's dialogue, says Joseph, either to the Theaetetus or the Ion would be a fine beginning. Now, okay, on our channel we have read the introduction to the Parmenides, the first hypotheses of Parmenides, the Phaedo, the Meno. We've done one episode. Well, we may be doing the symposium soon, so we don't have the Ion. So maybe we could read the Ion next. So we haven't read the Ion or Theaetetus on the channel yet. I'm thinking wondering if we should read those other books like the Bultmann. There's been about a half dozen key books to understand the nature of Christianity and its effect on the Roman Empire. I'm wondering, could we read that after this one? Maybe not, because we read in a certain kind of way here. Like, we break it down step by step, whereas those things, I don't know, it'd be quite time consuming to do on the channel. I don't know. Maybe just Bultmann, maybe that's the big one, because it breaks down the points that people take to be Christianity and shows that they're not in the Gospels. Maccabee asks the question where Paul got all his crazy ass beliefs that modern Christians that are used to indoctrinate modern Christians today. There's heaps. There's a whole bunch of books that we've already mentioned as well. Perrin and Keyes, synopsis of the Gospels. Alan's synopsis of the four Gospels. That's worth reading. There's the one on the influence of Christianity on the Roman Empire. Gibbon's Rise and Fall, like the monkey. Monkey is a gibbon.
I don't want to eat a monkey.
Don't eat a gibbon.
I don't want to eat a monkey. I don't want to eat a monkey.
Don't want to eat a monkey. Instead, you can eat
Bull testicles. Bull testicles.
bull testicles. Bull testicles. So I don't know. Maybe we won't read those on the channel. Maybe we could have separate reading groups in the Discord that could meet up in their own free time and read those books together. Maybe that'd be fun. And maybe one of the other people who are following the channel and are following the Discord could lead them. Maybe they could lay mother. Is that what they call that? No, that's serving tea to British people. They could, I don't know, lead these talks in the Discord. Maybe we could do the Ion next, or Theaetetus next. Oh, there's so many things to read. So many things. So, to learn about philosophical midwifery, maybe the Ion. Oh, maybe the Theaetetus. Oh, I don't know. We'll do a vote at the end, maybe. Okay, but here's the thing. Don't study them alone. Oh, work with some friends. Okay, so there's our answer. There's our answer. Those other books that we have mentioned in the text, he hasn't gone out of his way to say, make sure you're studying with friends. Theaetetus and Ion study with friends. So those might be the next ones. Because of what we do here, we read them together. At the time of recording, Wembanyama is facing the New York Knicks, the basketball team of Mumdani. So you want the Knicks to win because of Mumdani's doing some the only politician, or one of the only politicians who are actually showing some interest in caring for the people he's supposed to care for. So you want the Knicks to win, but then you want Wembanyama to win because he's the hero. He is he's Mr. Basketball Man. He's the one that everyone wants to win. And he's a Shaolin monk, so he's cool. He's like the anime hero of basketball. At the time of recording, there was an interview with one of his teammates, and Wembanyama and his one teammate have a book club, so they read books together. So that's neat. And they said no one else on the team is coming. So, boo. So if Wembanyama has his own book club, then maybe you can start one as well. That was the point of that tangent. With your friends. Over coffee. So, Joseph, don't study them alone. Work with some friends. We dealt with some of these ideas in our present discussion, but our treatment was shallow compared to Plato's elegance. Take a summer out. Take a whole summer out. And see if you can master those dialogues. Wow. It is certainly worth it. and you will find the arguments beautifully structured. And like I said, if you decide to do it, you might find it worthwhile to work on it with friends. That's the way I did it. So, said it twice for emphasis. Can you find some friends to read with? And you can find them here with this guy.
If you don't know, now you know. It's awesome and funny and cool. Hey, leave some for the rest of us, man.
I will not. I will not do that.
Off the perky, call me Kirky. I have a sickness for the thickness.
Okay. So find some friends. That's the way I did it. Elea says, with Harry? No, that's why we're writing the sequel, where we're shipping you with someone better. Because Harry's an idiot. No, that's not fair. He's been in the conversation. He's fighting hard to defend his stupid beliefs and to oppose the dialectic every step of the way. But that's what it means to be a human in ignorance. Elea just happens to be a better kind of soul. Further, literally, better. Not more valuable in terms of some people are less valuable than other people, but better in terms of her development. She's a better class of soul. So, in the sequel, she dumps Harry and dates Joseph, maybe. With Harry, and Joseph says, let me ask you a simple question. Sounds like Joseph is trying to be polite and not say what we can see. That's obvious. That might get Harry hot under the... Well, it might make Harry mad. Let me ask you a simple question. No tricks, no games this time. If your argument is as good as you think it is, then why is it that I still believe... Oh no, this is Harry! It's not Joseph. Harry is getting in the way of Elea's question. So Joseph says, hey, find some friends to read the Theaetetus and the Ion together with. Don't do it alone. Don't study them alone. Work with some friends. I like that. And she says, with Harry? And Harry goes, hey, listen here. Hey, listen. Hey, stop. Hey, nothing. Quiet you. Let me ask you a simple question. No tricks, no games this time. If your argument is as good as you think it is, then why is it that I still believe my position? Checkmate, liberal. Checkmate, atheists. If your argument is so good, why do I still believe my... It's that meme of that Nazi right-winger guy. Convince me otherwise, and he's sitting on a desk in front of a college. Debate me, bro. The thing about debates is, someone who's engaged in a debate isn't interested in changing their mind. Anyway. So much we could say about this line. It's a banger line. It's a banger book. If your argument is so good, why am I still so... Listen here, you. If you're so smart, why am I so stupid? Checkmate, liberal. Why do I still believe my stupidness? I still believe it's true, because, don't you see, it seems to me that your argument was really good and sound. It seems to me that if your argument was really good and sound, I'd be forced to give mine up, wouldn't I? But here it is, still intact. Interesting, we saw this a couple of episodes ago. Now, we had a long 5-hour episode where we talked to a few newbies, coming from an academic philosophical background. You don't have to watch that 5-hour stream because we did a summary at the beginning of... So that was 22.5, episode 22.5. But episode 22.3 gave a summary, gave a recap and summary, and we turned that experience into understanding. But we saw it! He was led to see the truth of a position, but he failed to change his mind. He went through all sorts of lying and fighting and distractions and trying to give advice and trying to trick people, playing a silly bugger, all of these techniques to not give up his position. So maybe this is why we've been talking about becoming philosophically pregnant. If it's your question, if it's your baby, you want to give birth to it. You're not going to mess around. Try it. Find a Christian and ask them any rational question about Noah's Ark. Where did all those animals come from? If there are 50,000 species of caterpillar, or whatever it is, of bugs, how did you get all of them? What did they eat? How big was this boat? Any rational question. Watch them not change their mind. That's the sickness of the mind. If we have an intelligent capacity, if what makes us evolved, more evolved than caterpillars, cabbages, and cows, is an intelligence, its job is to learn and grow and climb higher and higher and reach the highest states of intelligence, being, and functioning. That's its job. Anything that stops you from climbing that ladder is a sickness of the mind. When you learn something new and your reaction is to not take that next rung, that's the human sickness. What about something obvious like, hey, Jews, stop killing the Palestinians, please? No. We are the victims. Here is the evidence and reason. Fuck your evidence and reason. I'm staying stuck in my beliefs. Because I like being a Jew. Why? Take the next rung. You have an intelligence, use it. Hey, sexist. Maybe women are not less than men, you idiot. No, I like being an incel. Hey, racist. No, I like being a nut. See? Anyway. It's just so obvious. It's just so obvious. I'm trying to say it in all of the different ways to make the obvious clear to others. I'm surprised by how many human beings trying to fight to save belief. Even rational people. Even good people. Even the most rational and good people I've come across. It's difficult because of our upbringing, because of our level of evolution as a species, and because of our society and our family beliefs. It's difficult to say the obvious. Beliefs are a human sickness. Prevents your intelligence from climbing to higher levels of insight and understanding. If you have knowledge, understanding, and insight, why would you believe someone else? Why would you believe shit that has an origin through thousands of years of ignorance and interpretation? What's so fun about belief when understanding is available? Anyway. At least we can talk about it here. At this cafe. So, if you're so clever, why am I so stupid? If your argument was good, I'd be forced to give up my belief. But here it is, still intact, says Harry. Joseph, an argument can't deliver you from your beliefs. An argument... Well, this is what the Oracle would say.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
Can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into. An argument can't deliver you from your beliefs. So we're taking what the Oracle says and using the language of midwifery.
People don't logic their way into stupid positions. They stupid their way into stupid positions.
Exactly. So they can't logic their way out. An argument isn't going to persuade you to abandon a position if you have a need to really believe in it. There we go. This is not a blame game about having your beliefs. You think you need it. How hard would it be to live in the Middle Ages in a Muslim world if you weren't Muslim? They'd stone you to death. Or how difficult would it be in a cult, in Scientology, if you're not Scientologist? They'd lock you up in the basement, etc., etc. So growing up in your family, how dangerous would it be to think for yourself in a new way, different to the stupid, ignorant, batshit crazy beliefs of your parents? Anyway, maybe we should learn how to raise children better. Not in a box with people playing God priest of the house. All right. Takes a village. With philosophers in there. An argument isn't going to persuade you to abandon a position if you have a need to believe it. There we go. To deliver you from a belief requires an art I don't have. Ooh. Now, I would love to master the art that delivers men of their false beliefs. That's why I have come here. That's why I come here. So, there's a mastery of an art that delivers men of their false beliefs. So our questions earlier about what is the knowledge that allows you to... So what is the field... Color. What is the field... too thick. Too thin. Needs to be thicker. That's what she said.
You are beautiful and everybody loves you, and you have the most beautiful breasts and the juiciest ass.
That's lovely.
Can I do my plugs now? I'm trying to do comedy career.
No comedy careers. Just for truth statements like that last one. So what is the field of study of which we can have expertise? That has the knowledge that we can use to benefit. So providence or benefit. So providence is the high. So these are the ideals. So providence, or maybe that's a tricky word for some people. Benefit. Or how about this? The expertise from which we get the knowledge. And if that knowledge can be used to bestow benefit, like delivering men from the root cause of their problems, then that is that knowledge and expertise becomes an art. So therefore, if we're all human beings and we all have problems that we're here to solve, or we want to solve, you could take the next step and say, well, therefore we're here to solve. Then this art of what delivers men from their false beliefs that cause their problems is an art we all have to participate in and maybe even master. So,
the problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason
themselves into.
Can't reason themselves out of the position they didn't reason themselves into. You need a different field of expertise that may use reason at certain steps. But as we saw, all the reasoning in the world didn't help our buddies in the last, in episode 22.5. And also, the other chatter, the OG chatter, the chatter more familiar with this process, even though she was open and curious and able to follow reason, that wasn't enough. She gained insight into her beliefs. She saw more that was to be seen. She made more connections. She even labeled, put a name on it, which is necessary. But she still hasn't been delivered of the root belief. So reason plays a part, but it's not the whole part. So Joseph recognizes he doesn't have that art, but he's here at Golden West, where the author of this book, Pierre Grimes, teaches, and talking with buddies in the game with him. As remember, it's that quote we've been saying, that line, philosophy isn't a solo quest.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
It's not a one-person game. That's why I have this channel, and why he is in California, Huntington Beach, where Golden West is, learning the art that we are here to master, that we all need, we all benefit from. Elea says, would you mind telling us what the fuck you're talking about?
You actually are too stupid to interact with the rest of the world. You should literally be in a labor camp for the rest of your life. You should be in the mines for the rest of your life. You should lose the right to vote because you're such a fucking idiot.
Oh my goodness. I don't think she was saying it in that harsh of a way.
In the final quarter of the ball game, you have to throw it in, and that's when it all matters. It's all up to that one moment.
Okay. Neither of those drops are relevant. Emma?
The more holes, the better.
All right, fine.
Goon, 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 goon.
Okay. She wasn't that harsh as my soundboard made her out to be. My soundboard's random, so don't blame me. Would you mind telling us what you're talking about? Harry says, yeah! Fuck! Joseph says, actually, Sophronicus has the art of philosophical midwifery, so that's the name of the art. Hooray! And I hope to see a demonstration of it tonight. There are others in this area that practice it, and I hope to master it one day. Ooh, are we learning that as we go along and we find people like our friend yesterday, or Sus, the other day, practicing it with? Is that a development of the art? Is she learning it as she reflects on what she goes through as well? Elea. Sophronicus has this art? Where did he learn it? I've never heard of anyone studying it in college, that's for sure. Why not? I mean, if it's good and if it's an art, why not? Yes. They teach so much that is not worth learning. So why not teach something that is? Yes. That's what I've been saying. So we've been seeing. The wisdom traditions and contemplative arts can't be taught in any of our classrooms. You can lecture on Plotinus's contemplative techniques, but not practice any of them. Why? Because universities are designed to expand knowledge in the sciences and social sciences. It's the doctrine of separation of state and meaning. Wow. That's a spin on that expression. You may find it in some kind of Platonic academy, but not in a university. The goal of university education is to inform its students, not to transform them. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, you might have heard the expression separation of church and state. It's really a separation of state and meaning, because the church shouldn't be the fucking arbiter of meaning. Separation of church and state, good. How about no more church? Because if it's based on belief, and belief is what indoctrinates and harms people. But what about state and meaning? The goal of university is to inform its students, not to transform it. The goal of actual learning, the reason we are here as human beings, isn't to become loyal foot soldiers in the Epstein wars against the human race. Our job is to transform ourselves through this kind of learning about ourselves. If there are practices involved in facilitating that giving birth, higher insights and states of being, why the fuck aren't we doing it? It's one thing to learn that there are higher levels of existence that are blissful, that are beautiful, that contain the model of justice, that contain the archetype of beauty, that all artists need to create beautiful things, the model of justice that all leaders need to use as the model to function in a just way. But why the fuck aren't we going there? You wouldn't send your slave to the orgy or the banquet. You'd go yourself. That's the absurdity of the way philosophy is taught in academia. And the absurdity of our educational system. It doesn't transform students as the original academy was. The original academy that was shut down by Emperor Fuckface McGee, Justinian, at the beginning of the Dark Ages, the institution of the Catholic Church, it was, before then, what he shut down was recognizing that education was to prepare a student's mind to reach higher states of mind. It was a developmental process, as it should be. So, that's my rant. That's the same thing as what Joseph is saying. I just expanded out his catchphrases. The separation of state and meaning, or education's goal is to inform, not to transform. So, his you could put on a bumper sticker, or a fridge magnet, or a throw pillow. Sell it on Etsy and give me 10% off the back end. I need the points of the back end.
That's funny.
It is fun.
Hubba hubba. I just want more testosterone to human body ratio, and I'll finally be satisfied. Queen of gooning.
The queen of gooning, Emma.
Goons of gooners.
That's the gooners.
Goon, 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 goon.
They're talking to you, Emma.
You're a baby. You're a little baby.
Okay. Harry. For once I agree with you, Joseph. Oh my god, this Harry guy. For once. Oh, this Harry guy is getting on my nerves. Fuck you, Harry.
You're a little bitch ass baby.
No bitch ass baby, Harry. For once I agree with you. I don't want any ism in our institutions, and that goes for Marxism, Catholicism, or Platonism. Oh my god. Platonism is just thinking. Marxism is just understanding the dynamics of economy. Catholicism is a completely different kettle of fish. It's bullshit belief-based ignorance of Emperor Justinian and Paul and these other sadist believers. This is completely... Oh, anyway. Fuck you. Fuck you.
That's insane. Like, you need help. There's no help, actually. You need a straitjacket.
You need a straight... There's no help for you.
I've been a bad little girl.
No, Harry's been bad girl. Fuck. Anyway. So now it's as clear as can be. The philosopher is transformed into the superior man, the new Jew, the new Superman, and the old justification of tyranny. You've got nothing but another form of elitism. And it might work somewhere, but it will never work here. So, he's relating actual development to the oppressive systems of ignorance. The Zionistic Jewish movement of the Jewish superiority that gets to treat everyone like cattle and do genocide. The Superman, the Übermensch of Nietzsche, used by the Nazis to justify the Aryan race and, again, the genocide of the non-Aryans. He's comparing the old justifications of tyranny with actual development that helps everyone, is included, solves all human problems, and is rational. So, This is the problem of not being able to think. You've got a delightful filet mignon and a pile of dog shit, and you say, they're both equally meals. They're not. You idiot. Fuck.
Oh my fuck.
Exactly. Oh my fuck. You've got nothing but another form of elitism. It might work somewhere. By the way, it's not elitism if the role of the dialectician is to help others become dialecticians too. Do the Jews help the Palestinians become rulers of their world? No. They murder them. Do the capitalists make everyone wealthy like them? No. They make them poorer and poorer as wealth is systematically transferred to the small handful of people in the Epstein class. What does a dialectician do? His best to turn everyone into dialecticians. Anyway, so elitism, my ass. Yes, there are hierarchical steps of development. Joseph is functioning much better than Harry, and even better than Elea, who is herself better than Harry. But Joseph recognizes that I've still got work to do. Sophronicus, our friend Sophronicus, is higher than me. There are hierarchical stages of development within a system of knowledge or a subject, a field or study, levels of expertise, levels of ability to practice an art. It's not elitism. Anyone can play. You're supposed to play. And by participating in this art, you become better at this art yourself. So once again, fuck you.
Like literally suck my dick, dude.
Oh my goodness. You've got nothing but, okay. It'll never work here, says Harry. It's getting on my nerves today. It's funny because he's just a character in the book. But he's not. He's a personification of 90% of people you'll meet. And of course the ruling class that are the worst of the worst. So there you go. You of all people ought to know that. That'll never work here. I'll tell you what you've fallen for, Joe. Joe?
I don't want to eat a monkey.
The old Messiah game. It's better to have an Archie Bunker Reagan as our ruler than a philosopher who believes he knows it all. It comes down to who you can trust, those you can understand or those you can't. So this is the game of the fascist right-wingers. Hey, don't you want to have a beer with George Bush? Yeah, he's an idiot, and Archie Bunker is a is he the guy from the Archie comics, or is he the guy from the Straight to the Moon guy? The that sitcom, the archetype for Homer Simpson and all of these goofy idiots. Archie Bunker. Yes, he's the All in the Family guy, who's an idiot, who becomes the archetype for idiots like Homer Simpson and Family Guy and American Dad and stuff. Why? Because believers have to do two things: indoctrinate you into their belief and get you to fear your own development. Get you to, hey, what are all the magas saying about the medical professionals? Medical professionals are bad. What are the conservative propagandists saying? University is bad. Not for my kids, they go to the best schools. But for you, the working class, don't go to university. Be stupid so we can scam you. And so you can vote for Reagan, one of the absolute worst bastards who've ever existed, for passing policies that objectively hurt everything and everyone, but make the billionaires a little bit richer. But hey, he doesn't claim to know. Imagine going to a doctor. Do you want a doctor who knows medicine more than you, or do you want some idiot you can relate to? Anyway, that's the mentality of the MAGA, of the right-wingers. And what the fascists tell the population, the working class, hey, look at me, I'm using catchphrases. It's Australian politics too. Hey, I'm stealing all your resources and extracting all the wealth away from you and making your life objectively worse. But hey, fair shake of the sauce bottle. Isn't that what you say? Fair go, mate. Same bullshit that happens in all other fascist countries. They try and appear as the working man. Hey, it's better an Archie Bunker Reagan type as a ruler than a philosopher who believes he knows it all. Notice, he doesn't believe. It's not about belief, you idiot. Oh, fuck me. I'm getting so pissed at this guy today. Because this book is so great, because it exemplifies this state of mind and type of person so fucking well. Anyway. Fuck you.
Dude, suck my dick.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're experiencing a mental health episode, we don't want to have to see that.
Hey, that's not... hey, shut up.
Dead-eyed, and I don't use this kind of terminology lightly. Dimwits.
That's you. You have the right issue, but the wrong politics, says Joseph. The Platonic philosopher only desires to rule himself, not the state. That's the thing. That's the thing. Now, what we are seeing is, if Platonic philosophy is the name for the field and study or expertise that has the art that can bestow benefit to all developing people, and if we include with Platonic philosophy philosophical midwifery to address the root causes of all human problems, then even though the Platonic philosopher or midwife doesn't desire to rule others, because why the fuck would he? We need to, as a species, recognize we need doctors. We aren't all doctors, but we need them. We are suffering the implications of not demanding Platonic philosophers be our rulers. We have to make the case to them. If and when they surface among our ranks, we have to say, hey, look, LeBron James gets $60 million a year to do slam dunks. We're going to give you $100 million a year. Because our world is suffering. We are all suffering. No one's solving their problems and becoming better, and our world is facing extinction. The Platonic philosopher will say, why would I do that? It's your part of your journey. You're all souls. You've got to learn for yourself. I'm doing my learning. I'm doing my job. No one's fucking listened to me along the way. Not only that, if the reaction of people is Harry, oh, you doctors know it all. How many MAGA people were chanting, hang Fauci, hang Fauci? The guy trying to save them from a fucking pandemic. Why? Because the fascist right-wingers convinced them that expertise is something to fear. Let the idiots rule you and abuse you and kill you and do awful things to your children and murder children in Iran and genocide Palestinian children. Let them do that because the smart guys think they're better than you. So why the fuck would a Platonic philosopher who we need to rule us want to, given that's our attitude to the better people? The worst people, the nature of human problems, internally is the worst aspect of ourselves, our false beliefs about self, in conflict with our best, our openness, our curiosity, our understanding, our development. That's the nature of the human conflict. It's also within our society. The worst people fight the most against the best people. So he's right. The Platonic philosopher wants to rule their soul. That's why on this channel we use these political things as analogies to make clear our own soul's dynamics. Like a magnifying glass. Because we want to recognize the fascist element within our own psyche, belief, and overcome it with the progressive element, the logos. We want to rule our own selves. And whatever time we have on this planet, spend it doing that. Because that's the only thing that will benefit you beyond this lifetime. I mean, it seems. Ain't gonna take your bank accounts and Bugattis with you. Or your ability to manipulate the stock market, can't take that with you. Therefore, our job as human beings, if we do care about ourselves, our quality of life, our planet, our quality of air, and put an end to the torture and murdering of innocent children all over the world at the hands of the billionaire Epstein class, we have to make a case to the best. 1, we will value you more than LeBron James. 2, we won't attack you even though the worst idiots will want to. The MAGA will want to. The fascist will want to. The Epstein class will want to. The military-industrial complex will want to. We won't. We'll know that we want to, but we will recognize that's our problem, and we will do our best to not listen to that ever, and not fight against you ever. If you please spend your time helping us. That's the case we have to make. We can't kill another Socrates if another one emerges. Anyway, that would be our ethical responsibility as a citizen. But for us, right now, it's to rule our soul. A Platonic philosopher only desires to rule himself, not the state. Do I have to tell you about the Republic, says Harry. What else is it but the dictatorship of the philosopher king? Fuck this guy. Fuck you.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Please end kink shaming on.
No. I will never. Joseph. If you care to reread that work in the light of its purpose and its conclusion, you will come to a different conclusion about philosophy and the philosopher. By the way, when I studied philosophy at university, they taught the Republic as a political text. Fucking stupid. So Harry, in the bullshit educational system, thinks, oh, the Republic is about a dictatorship of the philosopher king. What conclusion, says Harry, what conclusion? In the 9th book of the Republic, dumbass, sorry.
You have the brain of a child if you think that.
If you think that about the Republic, you've got the... Anyway. In the 9th book of the Republic, Socrates says simply and clearly that the state he has been constructing is a contemplative model. You're supposed to be imagining it, contemplating it, for the philosopher. And as such, he has no interest in whether or not it has or will ever have a political existence. For the purpose of the Republic is to transform the philosopher, not the state. Which is what we've been saying ourselves. It's a metaphor, an analogy to magnify the understanding of the elements within our own psyche. As above, so below. Macrocosm, microcosm. Harry says to that, I've heard enough of the Republic at SB. So that's the non-Golden West College, the one in San Francisco, I think. But I never heard that one. Why do you believe that? Oh, fuck me with the belief. 2 episodes ago, when we had the academic philosophers in the chat, they kept saying, why do you believe that? I kept saying, I just explained, belief is the cause of human problems. We're not interested in belief. We're philosophers. We're interested in understanding. Yeah, but why do you believe that?
That's insane. Like, you need help. There's no help, actually. You need a straitjacket.
Yes,
You suck. You're ugly. I'm gonna get your ass.
I didn't say I was going to get their ass, though.
Oh my fuck.
So why do you believe that? It's in the text, Harry. So there's no need to believe it. That's the point. That's why we're learning to read on this channel. You know something? I can't believe you're saying that. See? Believe again. In fact, you've become unbelievable. The reason they won't teach this stuff at university is because it's a pseudo-religion. disguised as a philosophy. That's why. You may have a good point there too, Harry. I recall that Brehier, 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 made the point that Plato's Academy was considered by the state to be a religious institution. But I have no idea what that must have been like during its existence over 1,000... Sorry. But I have no idea what that must have been like during its existence of over 1,000 years. So again, so transformative. Those who don't understand the difference between religion and actual learning, one based in belief, one based on truth and understanding in the logos, one pathologos, one logos, might reinterpret it as a religious thing because you're talking about God, the divine, the meaning of life. Isn't that what the religion is supposed to do? No! The religions lie about those things to subvert your development and enslave you based on their own ignorance. It's the opposite. But both claiming knowledge of that particular thing. One with expertise, one without. So, it lasted for 1,000 years. Interesting. I wonder why Emperor Fuckface McGee, Emperor Justinian, shut it down when he introduced the Dark Ages and the rule of the Catholic Church. More scholarship, says Harry. That's so much of nothing. You believe knowledge is so damn important, but you know what? Learning is nothing other than imitation. I like the old days, before there were schools. Men worked as apprentices. That sounds like fucking Joe Rogan here. Literally, he's fascist propagandist. Build with your hands. Learning is a con. Anyway. Fuck you, Joe Rogan.
Dude, suck my dick.
Exactly. Although, that would be more appealing to... Anyway. I like the old days before there were schools where men worked as apprentices to learn from others. And these others, in turn, imitated those men before them. Apprenticeships and guilds were the ideal way of ensuring that men could appear better. Based on imitation. Because of their superior doing. Schools only came into existence because they needed more men to become doctors, lawyers, captains, etc. than the apprenticeship system could handle. Schools were, and still are, second-class systems for learning. What we need is the chance to study directly under someone who both appears and is the best. Because imitating through appearance is the superior way of learning, and it produces men who are in every way superior to those clods who have to master their profession through books and notes and study.
All these people are so stupid.
Exactly. What makes apprenticeship superior, you ask? Well, that is nothing other than the art of imitating. So, here we have an understanding of the negative way. So the two ways of making sense of the world: belief, basically, belief in understanding. Belief is interested in imitation, appearance, and there we have his understanding of what an art is: the art of the con man, Donald Trump, the grifter, the con man, the fascist, the art of imitating a expert. Literally, that was his campaign. Hey, these are all these other fascists are scammers. I'm not one of them. I'm different. But I know the whole job is to imitate a knower. I can act like a professional. I can put on a tie. That was enough to get him voted in. Well, ignoring all the gerrymandering and vote influence of foreign... Anyway. It wasn't an equal way of counting the votes, let's say. Or, yeah, anyway, the whole system is corrupted on the inside, but there we go. So, notice, we can go back to our old map to chart our development. So the map of the wisdom tradition here. the lesser world of the physical, perception and appearance, from where we get beliefs, that's where Harry is as a believer. Image thinking, how do you appear? Image thinking, the role of the functioning of belief. The personal. Whereas what we have been defining as an art is some sort of knowledge and understanding through the use of states of mind, questions or ousia, and logos, reasoning following the dialectic. So one is wisdom, which is transpersonal, beyond the personal, open to everyone, which is the realm of mind, the realm of being, the realm of the intellect. And because it's being, we can personify that in stories as gods. Therefore, metaphysics. Religion and the church claims it as belief. So its knowledge is the source of all human ignorance and problems, while imitating a philosophical guru, someone who has actual wisdom. That's why it's a sickness. So here we have what we are defining as art and what Harry is defining as art. Imitation, appearance, the art of imitation. And using this chart, we can understand why. Yes, we can completely expect it. Now, we could also go one step further and recognize there are two lines we hit across. The green line from wisdom to ignorance and the purple line from wisdom to the self. And so there might even be a higher art beyond wisdom and the dialectician, beyond the truth, goodness, oneness, beyond reality, benefit, and unity, the true, the one, and the good, the self. So in other words, the teacher or ruler or leader that even the wise go to facilitate ousia, self-reflection on this knowing state with the logos and dialectic, so a higher class of dialectician. So just as the ignorant conservatives, religious and capitalists, and anyone like Harry wants a Archie Bunker, bumbling fool, George Bush, Ronald Reagan type to lead us into sadistic destruction. Just as they say, don't recognize actual knowledge, you can have these people with actual knowledge and wisdom say, oh, there might even be a higher level still. This is the significance of having a map. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win.
Win-win-win-win-win. So the art of imitation, says Harry. Elea says, I like that. Not all of it, but it has something in it that I like. Elea needs to do work on her midwifery. He just vomited a bunch of belief-based bullshit. Elea doesn't like all of it, but there is still something attractive to her. In other words,
the problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
there's more than reasoning involved for Elea to overcome her false beliefs about truth, knowledge, and beauty that attracted her to Harry in the first place. Joseph says, "That's good, Elea." "Sure is, just as I told you." "Then which of you cares to explore it?" "Just try me, it was my idea." "Well, since you both agreed it is a good issue and it might be fun to explore." "Well, you've both agreed it's a good issue and might be fun to explore. Harry, do you have the interest to go along? Will you stay to see where it goes, or will you abandon the ship when you get in trouble?" "Oh, really? Oh, that goes for you too, tough guy." "Sure, that's fair. Go with Harry." So, I would have rather Elea stay in the conversation, but Harry might give us more information about what it means to be stuck in belief. So Elea kind of in between. Harry can help us learn about the nature of our own ignorance within our own soul. So maybe it's good that Harry is taking over. What are they going to talk about? Whether or not this book learning and learning to read, learning to think is good after all, or whether we need idiots in charge who can pretend like Archie Bunker the actor, or Ronald Reagan the actor, or Donald Trump the actor. And because real learning is like you get from an apprenticeship. You just look at what he does and you imitate it. That's it. So art is just the art of imitation compared to what we have been discovering. Art is some sort of... Where is it? We're way up here. Look at... I should move this over a little bit. Where's my... Move over a little bit over here, maybe. Does it look like an animal of some sort? Can you see a shape there, maybe? Like a constellation in the sky? Like... like this. And then... like this. What does that look like? Whoops. Oh no. Does it look like anything? Is it a wise looking shape? Or maybe it's supposed to be here. Is that better? What does that look like? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What does that look like?
Freaks.
Unbelievable sluts these days.
If you think of what it looks like and you're thinking that, you're an unbelievable slut these days.
Gun, 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 gun.
Gun, 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 gun. Whoops, I didn't... Okay.
Disgusting. I'm so disgusted.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Brain
That's
rot
disgusting.
escalates.
That was just brain rot.
First you're saying the F word or whatever you said. Now the tone is completely...
Can't you just engage with anything in a way that's like meaningful?
The woman? Ugh.
Ugh, woman. All right. So let's get rid of that. So what were we doing? We was looking at... oh yes, what we just... So our idea of either one of the many knowledges, or it could turn out to be a single knowledge that has scope over the other. Either way, there should be principles of knowledge that applies to different knowledges. There is some knowledge that you can provide goodness or providence to those who are developing, so long as they do their best to participate and follow the logos of that art. Listen to the doctor, listen to the mechanic, do what they say. The ideal would be some sort of ultimate knowledge that can bestow providence or the divine goodness or the ultimate goodness to developing souls through our own desire to participate in the logos and dialectic, and to do so. For us, it's reading using the dialectic and also doing it to your dreams. So everything that you've learnt today, see if you can apply it to your dreams tonight, because that's also a kind of knowledge being bestowed providentially to you as you're relevant to your specific personal development through your dreams. Again, you'll have to test that for yourself and see it. It's not an object of belief. It's something you either do or you don't, so long as you participate in the dialectic to do so. If there is a knowledge that can bestow providence to that through the logos to those that are developing, that knowledge has to be within a field: medicine, mechanical engineering, or Platonic philosophy. That field that you can develop expertise in. So Joseph is realizing he is an expert. He has enough knowledge within the field and ability to share it through the logos to help these people. That's expertise. Enough to help. Now, there is a higher level where you can bestow, so that would be a kind of an art, but within a field, an expertise which has its knowledge that can bestow benefit, the bestowing of that benefit through that expertise, that makes it an art. So the art is of a field which has a knowledge and an understanding that you can use to benefit. That's art. For us, based on our reading, what's there, including solving the puzzles that are there to be solved. On the other side of the game, someone stuck in their beliefs are saying there's no knowledge, there's no understanding, there's no singular purpose to education or learning or development. There's no transformative process. It's just about belief. It's just imitation of physical senses. So there's an art of imitation versus an art of beneficial knowledge and expertise. So two kinds of arts on the table. One we have developed for ourselves, one that Harry and Elea are themselves repeating as a catchphrase. Why are they repeating it? Because they don't know. If they were studying knowledge, they would have come to what we have come to. That's the thing about understanding and truth. As we said earlier, you'll recreate the subject. Those that use the mind to know the mind will reinvent Plato, as Pierre Grimes rediscovered philosophical midwifery. In other words, believers claim to be experts in things they haven't studied and mastered the field of. Just as a preacher gives you economics advice on how to give your money to the church without being an economist, relationship advice without being an expert on relationships, political advice without knowing anything, same thing. Only believers sanctify that bullshittery. The art of imitation. Any right-winger, podcaster, multi-level marketing grifter, they're all imitators. They think that's what art is. So that's all they know. And they don't have the intelligence and the integrity of self-reflection to question whether or not they were fucking lied to and they've been believing bullshit their whole life. Like Harry. Harry says, if your arguments are so good and sound, why do I still hold on to my bullshit? He lacks the integrity of self-reflection and going through the art of midwifery to give birth to these false beliefs. That second kind of midwifery Joseph mentioned. So, two arts on the table. Harry is going to explore whether or not his idea that art is simply imitation is true, and maybe Joseph can help us understand more about the true art that we are here to master as human beings. And if we all have problems and we all have an excellence that we seek to reach higher stages of more profound levels of existence, then not only is it the true nature of art that we can look for dialecticians to help us with our problems and excellence, create a society where we demand those very people rule our society, but also master that art ourselves. Because a true art would create the conditions for others to become like it. And if what we've been discovering or hypothesizing, that everything we learn about reading this book and reading itself you can apply to your dreams, then as you seek to understand or use the dialectic to unpack your dreams, not only are you participating in the providence of a higher knowledge of your dream maker will be you will be becoming more like the dream maker too. The highest expression of the highest art of knowledge, providence, care, and logos. But you can't get any of that by just believing me or the book or these hypotheses. You only get it by doing it. And as the book encourages, I encourage you to explore your dreams and this book with your friends. Can you do dream analysis with your friends? Might start slow at first, but it's okay. Your dreams will work with you. Your dreams can give you insight that can correct what you missed, or where you missed the mark, or remind you of what you missed that was there to be seen. And of course, you can join the community here, you can join the Discord, you can follow along on Twitch, you can buy me a coffee if you want to donate. You can find a link to the text below, and you can share your ups and downs, your insights along the way with us here. As the book says, try not to study it alone, try and do it with friends. And that's been the ethos of this whole series and this whole channel. I might not have the 50,000 Twitch viewers of
Asbid Gold and Hassan Piker, the two golden boys of Twitch.
But, of course, they're not in the same... That's like Harry saying, well, Catholicism and Platonism are both isms. Very, very different people, of course. Opposite ends of the spectrum of understanding versus belief. But of course, you know, we sit above and want to understand both. And understand the art of both. And hey, maybe one day we'll get a chance to talk to both of them and give them an opportunity to maybe play the human game. We all have blocks, we all have problems, we all have beliefs until we don't. But again, that's the art of midwifery. And also, we all have higher levels of existence that we can move into. So, that's what we're here for. Let's, good luck with your dreams. Good luck with finding friends who are good people that you can play this game with. And, excited to see where this dialogue on art goes next time. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you in the next episode.